Brahman Garu for giving me another opportunity to meet esteemed educationists here. Shri Ashok Pandeyji, Big Master Shri Paranjati Garu, Shri Premchand Garu, and all other people who have come from across India. Every year I come here and I get educated. So that's why I never miss an opportunity from Sri Brahman Garu to come and attend. I met Brahman Garu long back because he is an expert in feeding the brain. I heard about him and took my son to him to feed some mathematics into his brain long back. That's how I came in contact with him. So my son got his foundation so good that he never looked back and he could clear his all examinations well. And also he cleared his UPSC also and is now serving in Tamil Nadu as one of the IPS officers there. So I remember Brahman Garu for the Brainfeed, what he did. In fact, I studied in a government school, government college. My whole education was with the government. I studied in a place called Sri V. It's a temple town. Brahmarama and Mallikarjuna Swami, they are there. So I was fortunate to study there. Because my father was an engineer and he was working there, and my mother was a school teacher there only. Then after I did my college also from there, +2. Then I joined NIT, that time REC Varangal. Then after that I joined IIT Chennai. So total I spent about 20,000 rupees on my education. So that I want to say because I studied in government school, college and everything. So this is the economics. Now I want to talk with you on few of the issues which always haunt me because I keep visiting schools and colleges. I keep interacting with children. So far I have interacted with about 40 lakh youth so far because this is the command given by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam sir to all of us. Whenever you get time, go and meet the future of India. So in that process, I keep going to schools and colleges and during interactions, I came to know many things. I keep learning a lot of things from the youngsters also. Because once you interact with youngsters, you come to know what is happening to the field of education. Because I always feel, recently I heard the Prime Minister of this country, Shri Narendra Modi ji, in the 6th Ramnath Goenka Memorial Lecture. I don't know how many of you have heard him. So if not, kindly go through his entire speech. Because what he said is, he drew attention to a civilizational turning point and he was mentioning about Thomas Macaulay's 1835 Minute on Education. He said that dismantled India's indigenous education system and replaced them with a system designed to produce clerks, not thinkers, followers, not innovators, imitators, not creators. This is what he commented about our education system, started by Lord Macaulay. He said, we are producing clerks, not thinkers. We are producing followers, not innovators. We are producing imitators, not creators. So what the present world needs is thinkers, innovators, and creators. Now, on this occasion, we all should take up this challenge of producing thinkers, innovators, and creators from our educational institutions. This is what is the greatest challenge we all have in the days to come. Because if you see his, I quote Sri Modi ji, this was not merely a linguistic or curricular change, it was a psychological project to instill inferiority, disconnect children from their cultural roots, and create dependency on foreign attitudes and models. This colonial mindset persisted even after independence. This is what he said. So the today challenges, he said, our obsession with English medium instruction, parental faith in rote-based private schools, the coaching mafia and its rank-obsessed pedagogy, the perception that Indian languages are inadequate for scientific reasoning, are remnants of this colonial epistemic framework. This is what he mentioned. Then the Prime Minister gave a call to free ourselves from the mindset of slavery by 2035. So next 10 years, there is going to be a big target before us to get this or to free ourselves from the mindset of slavery by 2035. I think this summit needs to discuss on this. Because once the Prime Minister said something, the education department is going to take it. And it is going to send you a lot of instructions and circulars and official memoranda so that we need to follow. So I think this is the best opportunity for us to deliberate on those issues and to evolve some mechanisms through which what the Prime Minister wanted, because he always said we want creators and innovators in this nation. So let us take this opportunity to produce them. And also I keep reading the ASER reports, the annual status of education report. You all must have read. Because yesterday I was speaking to them, I was asking them whether you do the urban survey or the rural survey. They said most of their surveys are in the rural areas. Rural areas. Whatever it may be. Whatever it may be. But the reports are quite disturbing. The reports are quite disturbing. I don't go through all those recommendations. They say over 50% of class 5 children cannot read class 2 text. A significant proportion cannot perform basic arithmetic operations. Post-pandemic recovery has been foundational literacy and numeracy gaps widen after class 3 and become entrenched. So these are the final findings of the ASER report. And the same reports we keep reading year after year. I don't find much difference. It is almost the same. So this also we need to look into. Next I'll come to the biggest issue is the rise of parallel education, corporate schools and coaching economics. Corporate schools has 2-shift factories. This is what I read somewhere. There are 2-shift factories. Across India, especially in urban centers, corporate schools run dual curriculum. One for the prescribed board standards and another often convert for competitive exams, JEE, NEET, FLAT, and other examinations. This model is reducing schooling to an assembly line of tests, worksheets, and rank production, producing students who excel at examinations but struggle with creativity, comprehension, collaboration, or curiosity. This is another report which I read. The other is the quota phenomenon. Quota phenomenon is another thing we all need to discuss. There is some problem with the audio. The quota phenomenon, an industry built on aspiration and anxiety. Quota has become a national metaphor for competitive pressure. With the lakhs of students enrolling every year, arguably India's largest unregulated education. But the tragedy is this: over 100 students have died by suicide in quota in recent years. Suicide notes, if you reveal some of the themes. I am tired of disappointing everyone. I am failing before I have been started living. I don't know who I am without coaching. So these are the contents of some of the suicide letters. So we all need to ponder over this. Why this is happening and why parents are moving their children to quota and what's happening here. This is not an examination crisis. This is a national mental health emergency rooted in societal expectations, structural inequalities, and narrow definition of success. So we need to redefine what is success is. Whether getting a rank in a competitive exam is success, or if suppose somebody doesn't get a rank, you totally sideline him and brand him as a failure. Whether we need to do this. Do we need some changes in the education system? Because you're all educationists who are here. We need to think about this. The rise of coaching centers is not merely because exams are tough. It is because schools have lost relevance, Assessment rewards speed. Assessments reward speed over understanding. Parents outsource responsibility to market forces. Teachers are reduced to syllabus finishers. Systematic accountability is weak or absent. Coaching is not the disease, it is the symptom of failure of schooling. So we all need to think where we are failing. Why they are going to this coaching institution which is not in the framework of education. Because as Swami Vivekananda said, education is a man-making exercise. As Einstein said, education is what remains with you when you forget what you have learned in schools and colleges. So when these are the definitions, but now shifting the whole thing to quota and coaching centers, whether we are able to achieve these definitions of education or not, this is what we need to discuss here. And of course, we have the national education policy also. And also we have the Right to Education Act. So all these things also need to be discussed, because we all said learning in local language or mother tongue is going to be a crucial thing for a child's development. Because till 10th, I have studied in my own Telugu medium. Then in 11th and 12th, we slowly migrated to the English medium. But the foundations are so strong. Even if somebody asks me now, I am ready to answer that, even in maths or science, anything. But nowadays, if I ask children of 9th standard something, they said we studied this in 8th and it is now out of syllabus. This is the reply what I get. So why this is happening? Because the foundations are quite weak. Because we are all concentrating on examinations and getting marks and ranks. Earlier, the doctors were not supposed to put their names in big letters outside their residences, even the advocates also. That used to be the norm. Now the whole thing has changed. But whenever I move in lanes and bylanes, I see huge flexes with students' faces with 597 out of 600, 998 out of 1000 also says you should not fail any student till 8th standard. So that is what is the norm. So marks are being given, and marks have become the benchmark for deciding the performance of an institution. And also if you go to government schools also, during the 10th class examination, literally the headmasters and other people are threatened by the DEOs and MVOs that if you don't get 95% pass, then your increments will be cut. So a lot of malpractices are taking place in schools. I am from a school in Sri Salem, as you said. We have an old students association, our alumni association. Once we decided we have to stop the copying in the school, so we volunteered and we stood at the gates of the school, and we encouraged the children to show their own performance. But the pass percentage has dropped from 95% to 72%. So where are we going? This is one thing we need to ask. So whether it is government school or it is a private school or it is a corporate school, finally the whole assessment is based on the marks you are securing, but not the foundations what you are laying in the early childhood. So as educationists, my sincere request is kindly think about this. I think at the end of the seminar, a paper needs to be presented to the government with real facts, what is happening to the field of education. Generally, we do hanky-panky and we try to produce reports which go in favor, but we can't compromise with the concept of education. So if it is compromised here, the life is compromised. You will become a cheater when he brings up. That's why I find most of the qualified people are engaged in the committing economic offenses in this country. Because in CBI, I investigated so many cases, and with all highly educated, some people even in foreign universities also, they are coming here and committing crime, because somewhere down the line, we have not instilled these values in their childhood.
That's why I keep quoting to the children of the episode in Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi's early schooling, when his teacher tried to tell him to copy from his fellow students' book, he refused. So these are the stories which we need to tell our students. So my sincere request to all of us, because now it has become a rank-centered society. A rank-centered society produces not just toppers, it produces trauma also. So that we need to look into. So my final conclusion, because as I mentioned, I keep meeting youngsters and all, I keep assessing them and I keep finding their strengths and weaknesses. So after doing this assessment, so I said, it is the right forum to present some of my observations so that you are the doctors. So you are the doctors who can suggest a prescription or suggest a treatment to this disease. So kindly do that. Kindly do that. So my call to all of you is that India's destiny is being written in our classrooms by our teachers, in the minds of our children. But for classrooms to change, systems must change. For systems to change, visions must change. And for visions to change, we, the thought leaders of Indian education, must change. So when thought leaders like us, if we change, then definitely the classrooms are going to change. Let us build a system where every child learns, not just attends school. Where teachers are mentors, not mechanical syllabus finishers. Where failure is not fatal and success is not a rank. Where mother tongues thrive and English is a tool, not an identity. Where coaching is optional, not compulsory. Where public schools are exemplary, not alternatives. Where learning is joyful, not fearful. India does not need a population of well-trained test takers. India needs thinkers, makers, builders, artists, reformers, scientists, environmentalists, visionaries, leaders. The next 25 years will determine whether we become a knowledge society or an examination society. The next 25 years are going to be very, very important, whether you want to be a knowledge society or an examination society. The choice is ours. The responsibility is ours. The future is ours to shape. Let us rise to the challenge. Let us rise to the calling. Let us rebuild Indian education rooted in purpose, freed from pressure, and committed to the performance that uplifts the nation. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Bharat Mata ki Jai.